Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, and that's all I have to say. He's still a top 5 quarterback in this league, and there's nothing really anyone can do about it.
Everyone's looking for the young guy. They're looking for McVay. Well, I think take a shot out Todd Bowles, get him a second shot at head coach, and see if he can do it.
I don't think they will. If they don't have Anthony Davis, I'm saying it right now. If Anthony Davis is out for the playoffs, they don't make it out of the first round.
It's crazy. And our kids will know how great Tom Brady is because he's going to be playing.
Yes, it is 15.0%. I swear we didn't script that.
All I could think of was Dame.
Sixto. There could not be a better name.
Speaking of young guys, how about the goalie, Ottinger?
He was a 6th-round pick. This is a fairy tale story that's being written in front of our eyes.
That's what the Yankees brought Garrett Cole to do.
They didn't struggle against the Padres. The Padres didn't really put up a fight in most of the games.
Jerry Jones, hope you're listening because this is why you shouldn't have given Zeke this contract. Just thought I'd point that out.
I feel like Luka will take that next step, and if he can get a 3-ball consistently around 35%, I feel like they could become a contender.
While with the Padres and Marlins, I think it's coming in the near future.
They're my pick to win the most rings in the 2020s.
I was shocked by Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, Montreal has one of the best goalies in the league with Carey Price.
People like to call them their JV team, and they just stole one of their better players.
Hi, I'm Landon Bowe, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NBA predictions videos for free agency. I'm joined by Austin. Austin, I think you're in a much better mood than me. I think it's pretty obvious why I am not excited for this episode, especially since we're doing a predictions video. Brunson, where is he going to go? He's the last person we will talk about, but it's an exciting thing, exciting few days for some people and then not exciting for others. We'll see. Some trades have already happened. Some trades may be happening, but this is about signing. So we're talking about free agents. And that first free agent is John Wall. Could he return to the Wizards?
I hope he will, but again, this is a prediction, not hoping. So I think he goes to the Clippers. I've seen some reports about it. They need another point guard, bench point guard to back up Reggie Jackson, or maybe John Wall overtakes him. John Wall has been one of the best passers in the league every season he's played, consistently puts up 20 points, great finisher around the rim. Started to get a little bit of a three-point shot. He's been good on defense his whole career, but he may struggle in that feature because of his injuries that have happened. But let me just explain something really quick. If there's a sign-in trade with one of our players, it doesn't count for the team that signed them. It counts for the team that they just traded them to because they never really played for them. So, for example, we have Miles Bridges on this. If Miles Bridges gets signed back to the Hornets and then traded away to whatever team, it only counts for that team he got traded away to, not for the Hornets. But what do you think about John Wall?
Yeah, I agree with the Clippers. And then that's like heavily rumored. My first thought was like Wizards, but I think he would be a nice signing. But I know we'll do recap later. So I think we can move on to Bradley Beal, who just declined his player option for the Wizards. But that's pretty normal for a lot of players because the NBA, like, he can get a bigger contract now. So why wait for that? So I have him staying with the Wizards. I'd be shocked if he left the Wizards. How do you feel?
I agree 100%. I would be shocked, a little bit hurt, because we can give him the biggest deal. Now, maybe there's a sign-in trade, and because we're both saying Wizards, we get that sign-in trade wrong, even though he did technically sign with the Wizards and then trade immediately. Wouldn't count for us. But I definitely think that he wants to be a Wizard. He thinks of all the potential trades we've made, all the good draft picks we've made. The fact that we still have a lot of young guys, Corey Kispert, Denny Avdija, Daniel Gafford. We traded for KP, obviously. We're trying to give him as much help as possible. It's not like the Wizards are just standing around doing nothing. They're obviously trying to do their best. We had Russell Westbrook the year before. I mean, we're trying to make moves to get him to be happy. So I think he sees that and wants to stay.
Yeah, they did make a good trade, in my opinion. So we agree on the first two. Now we go to Zach LaVine. Where does he go?
I have Zach LaVine staying with the Bulls. I think he resigns. there's not that much cap space to go around that could give him the money that I think he deserves and wants. So I feel like the safest bet is that he returns to the Bulls, but I could see some other suitors potentially, maybe like the Spurs if they go crazy or something like that.
Yeah, or like I know the Pistons have a ton of cap room, but it doesn't make sense with the Pistons because they have both guard spots. So I'm returning to the Bulls as well. We agree on the first three. Now we go to Yusuf Nurkic. Not sure about this one. I don't see him going back to Portland, so I'm going with the Pistons.
You see, I was thinking about the Pistons, but they already have Isaiah Stewart and they drafted Jalen Duren, so I have him going to the Jazz. I think the Jazz trade Rudy Gobert, and I think Yusuf Nurkic is the most likely candidate for them to pick up. I think that he has enough offensive upside that he could be, I think, better on offense than Rudy Gobert, but obviously worse on defense. But I think he would be a better fit with Donovan Mitchell and what they're trying to do there. So I have him going to the Jazz.
Okay, I can see that with the Jazz. I do agree. Gobert gets traded because I think it's just not working. So, but I have another center going there later. But now we go on to another center, and that is DeAndre Ayton. I am pretty sure Ayton is not staying with the Suns. I'm not sure where he goes. I know it was rumored with Pistons, but I have him going to Charlotte because we mentioned the Pistons with the centers. They got Duran. They have who'd you say, Isaiah Stewart?
Yeah, the Pistons have Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren.
So I don't see him going there, even though I know that was a heavily rumored team. So I'm going to Charlotte, who did just draft a center, but I think they're ready to play, ready to compete now more than the Pistons, who the Pistons have a lot of young players. With Charlotte, it's kind of a mix of young and older players. So I have them going after a center now, and that's DeAndre Ayton.
I have DeAndre Ayton going to the Kings. I think the Kings make a sign and trade and send Sabonis to the Suns. They drafted Keegan Murray, right? Who is a power forward with not much defensive abilities but good rebounding and offense. That just sounds like Sabonis to me. So why not sign and trade for Ayton for Sabonis and a pick to where you have a center who plays like a center to pair with a guy like De'Aaron Fox, Davion Mitchell, and obviously Keegan, who they drafted. So I have him going to the Kings.
Yeah, I'm not sure because then you would have to. They basically lose the Halliburton trade, right? Because they gave up on
I
Halliburton.
wouldn't know because now DeAndre Ayton is the Halliburton trade. So
Okay,
it's just
gotcha.
how DeAndre Ayton, because you traded away Sabonis, now it's an extension of the Halliburton trade. So we'll see how that works out. And if DeAndre Ayton works well, I think the Halliburton trade works well because they can't make that trade without Halliburton being traded before. So I think
Okay.
the Kings want a player who's not a spit in the image of Keegan Murray. And I really like Keegan Murray, but I don't know how Keegan Murray and Domantas Sabonis can play on the same court together.
Yeah, that is a good point. I'm not sure if the Kings will make a good decision with that, but we'll see what happens. A lot is happening unexpectedly. Now we go with PJ Tucker.
I have PJ Tucker going to the Clippers. The Clippers obviously got rid of Serge Ibaka, and so I feel like this is going to be their power forward, who is a great corner specialist, can play good defense, has been on great teams before. The Raptors when they were good before they won the championship. He wasn't on the Raptors when they won. Obviously, he was on the Bucks when they won the championship. He was on the Heat last year. He is a very good big man, even though he's 6'5". So I think that he fits the Clippers' needs very well.
I was not expecting that because I have PJ Tucker going to the Clippers as well.
Wow.
Because I don't think he resigns with the Heat, and I think the Clippers make sense for all the reasons you said. So
How
we can
many
move
is that
on
now?
to we've disagreed on two, so we're six, four.
Four, and that would be John Wall, Bradley Beal, uh,
Levine,
PJ Tucker, and who?
Levine.
Oh
Okay, is
yeah,
that five?
Levine.
So it's five. Okay.
That's four.
Uh, No, it's four.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I messed up counting with fingers. Um, Now we go to Colin Sexton. I have him staying with the Cavs.
I disagree. I think Colin Sexton goes to the Celtics. The Celtics need point guard depth, And I don't think Sexton signs for so much after his injury history and his inability to play defense. But you pair him with a great defensive team like the Celtics, I think Colin Sexton could really be shown to be a great player.
You could probably put him in the starting lineup,
That's what I was
like
thinking.
Sexton, Brown. Tatum's a good defender. Brown's a great defender, and then you Robert Williams, Horford, and then you have Marcus
Yeah, and if
Smart
you want to
coming off
put
the
Smart
bench.
in the starting lineup as well, you could just bench Robert Williams or Horford and then
Move Tatum
put
up.
them on later, or you could just bring Sexton as the best six man in the league.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so we're disagreeing. Now we go with Miles Bridges.
I have Miles Bridges going to the Pistons. He has Michigan ties. A lot of my friends who are Pistons fans want him, and I think it makes sense. I really do think it makes sense. So I have him going to the Pistons. He'd be a great addition as a shooter and an offensive player. He'd have to work on his defense, but he can help grow with the Pistons as they move forward.
So I have Miles Bridges. I know a little bit on defense. I think he can develop that. I have him going to the Hawks because I think the Hawks, he's a great shooter. They just traded away Cam Reddish, so I think they get a shooter in him and and he can develop into a good defender.
So you
What do you think?
saying this is a sign and trade, right?
Yeah, sign and
Has
trade.
to
It'd
be.
be a sign
Yeah,
and
because they
trade.
have the least amount of cap space in the league. So they would have to be a sign and trade. I would assume that they would send John Collins in that trade.
Yeah, I think John Collins gets dealt somewhere. Yeah, a lot of the moves I think are gonna be sign and trades just because the cap is everyone's stuck with the cap. So except one team, and that's the Knicks. But we'll go. So yeah, it would. I definitely saw this as a sign and trade. Now we go with Carmelo Anthony.
Carmelo Anthony. This was a hard one for me, mainly because he can sign anywhere for any amount of or with because he is only probably going to get a vet minimum. He could sign anywhere. So all 30 teams are open. But I have him returning to the Lakers. I feel like he wants to continue to play with LeBron. They're good friends, and I definitely think that he wants to stay.
Okay. And then I'm not sure if you saw this tweet.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. You
We're just gonna
wanna?
add him to it. We're just
Okay.
gonna add him
Cool. At
to
the
it.
end. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Just want to make sure. You'll find out in a couple minutes. So we were talking about Carmelo Anthony. Where did you have him? I got distracted.
I had him going to the Lakers because I feel like he wants to continue his career with LeBron.
Okay, there we go. We agree for the fifth time because I meant to the Lakers as well. Now we go to Boogie Cousins, who I have going to the Nets.
You see, I thought that, but they have guys like LaMarcus Aldridge who could re-sign. They have Nicholas Claxton who could re-sign. They have Day'Ron Sharp, and I could see that happening to where he returns. But I mean, goes to the Nets. But I have him returning to the Nuggets. I feel like the Nuggets need a backup center, and they're going to make a big enough offer for him to stay.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I just thought Boogie Cousins would be the guy to team up somewhere, and I saw that's the Nets. Now we go with Mo Bamba.
I have Bamba going to the Spurs. The Spurs have cap space, and I think they need a center after they get rid of Jakob Poeltl, which I think they need to do eventually. Maybe they just bring off Bamba off the bench or bring Jakob Poeltl off the bench before a trade happens. But I think Bamba makes the most sense here for the Spurs. He can help extend the floor, and they're going to be trying to make a playoff push this year, I think.
I did consider Bamba to the Spurs, but I didn't think it fit because I would be shocked if they kind of traded Jakob Poeltl. So I'm going to the Bulls. Nice backup role. I'm not sure if they still have Tristan Thompson, but I think he could be a nice backup center coming off the bench for them. So now we go to Dwight Howard. I have him going to the Heat.
I have Dwight Howard going to the Raptors. I think the Raptors need another center, and I feel like it makes the most sense for him to go there. They're a good team. They're going to make the playoffs next year as long as everyone stays healthy. And bigs wise, they struggled with Chris Boucher. Kim Birch didn't play all that much, and they really do need a big.
Yeah, that would be a nice fit. I kind of saw the Heat as a team pushing for the playoffs or pushing for the championship. I believe they'll be in the playoffs and they get a nice big. I don't think he'll sign for that much money. So now we can move on to Mitchell Robinson.
Mitchell Robinson, I have staying with the Knicks. I think that it makes the most sense for him to stay. I think the Knicks are going to give him what he wants. They have the bird rights, or the early bird rights, I should say. So I think that he makes the most sense there.
So I have him going to the Jazz. He's a little bit younger than Nurkic, and I think they trade away Gobert, and I think the Jazz try to pair him with Donovan Mitchell. And he's a good rim defender, but he struggles with health. But I just think the Jazz will take a shot at him, and he'll kind of play a little. I think he's better offensively than Gobert, a little bit less defensively, but not as. I think he's a better defender than Nurkic, but it's his health that struggles that keeps him off the floor. So that's the center that I had going to the Jazz. So now we move on to Jaylen Bronson. Maybe he comes back to the Mavs because the Knicks go all out for a trade with Dejounte Murray, and he's like, you know what? This is not what I wanted. Comes back to the Mavericks for a nice deal. Can you tell him in denial?
Yeah, but every report I've seen is him going 4 years, 110 million to the Knicks, and I definitely think that's going to happen. I know you probably have him also going to the Knicks because it's just I don't want to lose. It's 1 point for each player going to the right team, and I don't really want to lose the prediction by being hopeful. That's why I didn't have John Wall going to the Wizards. It's not time to be hopeful. It's time to win a prediction video.
I kind of take it as if I lose Brunson, which will hurt. Like it is. If you follow me on Twitter, oh, you don't watch Stranger Things, so I was willing to trade a character on Stranger Things that everyone loves just to keep JB. Like I was like, if he dies, I'm fine, or she dies, whichever Stranger Things. So it is painful, but I do have him signing with the Knicks. So if he leaves, I get 1 point. If he stays, I get JB back and not sadness. So now, just added to the list, as I mentioned about 5 minutes ago, James Harden is opting out of his $47 million option, and he intends to return to the Sixers on a contract that gives the team more financial flexibility. That's from Bleacher Report, according to Shams. Where do you have him going?
Yeah, I saw that tweet in it. I think he returns, but I could see a team like the Heat trying to make a sign and trade for him. They need they need a shooting guard to pair with Jimmy Butler. But based on the tweet's language, I'm going to go the safe route and say that he returns.
Yeah, that's why I go with two. I heard, and Daryl Morey is the GM that was with Houston when they had Harden. I don't think he lets them walk, especially what they gave up for him with this next trade. So while I don't know if signing a bigger contract for years gives the Sixers financial flexibility, but we'll see what happens. I know they got off Danny Green's contract, but I know people have been talking about Thibault and that trade, but he's already signed, so he's not part of this. So I think Harden returns to the Sixers as well. So we agree for the sixth time or seventh.
I have no idea.
Okay, because we agreed on 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we got 5, and we got 6, 7. Yeah, because we agreed on Brunson and Harden, so we're at 7.
So Harden, Brunson, Carmelo, PJ Tucker, and then Levine, Beal, Wall.
Yeah. So be interesting what happens for free agency. We'll keep you updated, and we will do a recap analyzing the moves and how we feel about them. So that this is more predictions, and as Austin talked about, sign and trade is to the team he is traded to in the sign and trade, not the team like he would resign with this team, but then he's traded.
Yeah. Technically, he gets signed, but he's immediately traded, so it doesn't count.
Yeah.
It's what team he's basically going to play on next season.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. So make sure to check that out. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions, and we'll see what happens with Bradley Beal and maybe Brunson. We don't know, and then all the other guys that have yet to be traded or anything else. It's going to be crazy. I'm looking forward to it, and that's all we got. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.